Hey, hello there. I'm JoJo, and thank you for tuning into this tutorial. Today I'm going to make some pen pal and junk journal envelopes using my digital papers that I designed myself. And these are available at my Etsy store, which is Jumbo Box Art Co. at Etsy. So if you're interested, you can go over there and take a look. So we are going to make some pretty pen pal and junk journal envelopes using this digital art paper. So as you can see, this is kind of what they look like. I try to use the whole sheet of paper and get a nice little envelope. So what I plan to do with these is to use them in junk journals and to put goodies in for my pen pals. So you can use lace and stickers and other things to kind of decorate them. I've used a few stickers that kind of coordinate. You could also stamp them, and if you print them on thicker paper, you can actually send your pen pals mail using these envelopes too. So right now these are just 20-pound paper. They're printed using the standard fast printing. But you still get some pretty good graphics and color. So if you want it to be a little bit more, colorful and a little bit thicker, just use heavier paper. So we're going to make 2 envelopes together. It does not take very long, and this is how I do it. So first of all, the first thing I like to do is, if I'm going to send it in the mail, I want to make sure that it's going to fit inside the envelope that I send it in. And I'll usually send it in these are like 5x7 thicker cardstock kind of brown paper envelopes, okay? So I want to make sure that it's going to fit inside this envelope. So I use that as a guide to kind of measure where we're going to cut. So notice I'm using a We Are Memory Keepers scoring board. These are very handy tools. And I'm using a bone folder because the little scoring board tool that came with it, my kids swiped, and I don't know where that is. So bone folders are also really handy tools if you're doing a lot of paper folding. So we have to do some measuring first. So we want it to fit inside of our brown paper envelope. We don't want it to be too thick either. The flap of any envelope is really about 1/3 of the length of the paper. So we're going to divide this into thirds. And the first thing that I actually like to do is I like to find the center of the paper just by dividing it in half and making a little crease up at the end. And I know that this is the top part. That will be the flap. That's the perfect middle of the paper. So to find the flap, like the length of the flap and the body of the envelope, it's generally about 1/3. Okay, and then we're going to cut this little section off. So it's going to be about here. And it can actually be as thick or as thin as you want. You can make a thicker envelope, but it's the same basic way. So just crease it there and crease it here, nice and tight. So now at this point, when you open it up, you can see that you've got kind of thicker sides, and they can be cut down, and then we're going to make the flap. So the first thing I like to do is I like to cut the sides down, and the way I do it is I just fold this up, and either with scissors or with a paper trimmer, you can just reduce the size of that flap by about half. You don't have to have all that bulk on the edges. And if you're really good with your paper trimming, do it without any fuss. Doesn't have to be perfect. So the easiest way to seal these is to use double-sided tape, and we're going to do that. There's a few more little cuts that we have to make, and for that I will use some scissors. So you don't have to have this bottom side here, so we can trim that away. So you don't have to have that bottom side. And the next thing, you can see it's going to fold here. And then you can actually trim away that as well. So another little cut here, just so that you can fold the sides around it easily. We're going to do a little trimming to make that look nice too. Okay, so on my other envelope we made a little rounded corner here so everything fits. I'm not going to worry about an upside down graphic because that can be changed by a sticker. And then pencil and some kind of little corner, and I used my bone folder for this. It'll just help make a consistent shape when you round it out. Okay. It doesn't matter actually when you do that. I'm going to actually make my flap cut first. So on the back of the Memory Keepers scoring board here, we have a little envelope device that's a kind of a ruler, and it helps you get a nice straight edge as well. So we're basically just making a little line from the point on the flap to the point on the side. It doesn't have to be thick. It's just a guide to help us cut evenly. So I just cut on the inside of the line so that I don't get any pencil marks. Okay. Now these two pieces of paper with graphics can be saved. You might want to make corners, bookmarks or something out of them. Okay, at this point, that's what that is going to look like. And we need to trim a little bit of this rounded side here. This is a pretty fast pen pal craft. Once you get the idea and you know how to do it, it's really easy and pretty fast to make. So, okay, so now at this point, we can make our sides a little bit fancier just by cutting an angle on that bottom part of the side so it'll angle. There is something that you can do that's kind of fancy. Now if you have anything that's useful for embossing, you can actually emboss your edges. Sometimes what I do, and I'm just going to show you this a little bit here because it'll take a moment, is I'll flip my envelope around like this, and I just use the bone folder to make a little fancy edge on the paper so that you can actually feel this edge. Okay, and then when you flip it over, there's a little bit of an embossed feeling to that. And you can actually also do these sides as well. You just take a little bit of time to do this little bit of embossing here. Like that. And you'll be able to feel that as a little bit of texture on the envelope. I'm going to do both sides even though it'll take a moment, and I have to think about filling up the time with something. So, as I said, I'm going to use these as pen pal gifts in my pen pal letters. I have about 4 or 5 letters to get caught up on. So Easter was busy for me. I didn't get a huge amount of time to do anything paper and art related. So this week we have off for spring break, and I'm going to try to get as much done as I can during this time. So that is life. Pen paling is just a hobby, and it's a really fun hobby, and you can fit it in here and there when you have time. So these digital papers I made myself by let me line that up properly here. And they're available at my Etsy store for buying, and you can use those papers for anything you want. I've had people write letters on the back of them and send them. Other people use them as pages for junk journals, or as you see me doing here, for envelopes. And they're really fun. So especially if you like the vintage, the kind of vintage style, you know. They're a fun page to include in your junk journals. So I'm going to round the little point a little bit. See if I can do it evenly. A corner rounder would also work for this, but I'm not sure where mine is. So we'll just use scissors. Okay. And if you've seen my junk journal tours that I did the other day, the video that I did the other day, you'll see these pages in those junk journals. And I have several different sets with different color schemes. And they're really fun. I've even got a lace set that would look really, really nice in a romantic, like grungy styled kind of journal too. Or even in like a Victorian or French junk journal. So now these journal pages you can actually print however you like. You can make them into journal cards as well by just resizing them. So, excuse me. All right, so that's the basic envelope right there. And then I like to play a little bit with textures, so I especially like to put that little bit of an embossed edge on them. So that's the first one. The graphics are all nice and vertical on this page. And at this point you can decide to put, you know, little labels for your addresses and stuff on, or what have you. They look really pretty tucked onto a page too. And you can actually put, you could actually put some lace around here and decorate the flap a little bit more if you want as well. So I hope I've done all of this work in the proper view for the camera. I forgot to check. Okay, so now we're going to do this blue aqua colored one, and it's done the same way. So it's done the same way. Let's kind of, we'll use the brown envelope as our guide again. So when I'm making videos, I'm really making them like art process videos. I'm not going to edit any video because I don't have time for editing. So that's what you have to kind of put up with a longer video. I know, but you can always skip ahead and see the next step. Whoops. So there I go. That's all right. So very fast, we'll just do this next step for the video. And So what do I want as my flap? I think I'm going to try to keep that as part of the envelope, that little graphic. So this will be the flap. So here we go. So it's about 1/3. I'll make this one a little bit wider, how about? The smaller flap. If you want nice crisp lines, use your bone folder. Okay, and then we're going to trim the sides. And I want basically like, it's just a little bit more than 1/2 inch for the tape to go on. Okay. Now there are those cuts that we have to make. So you want the direct center of your paper, and it's easiest to just make a little crease at the top of your flap so that you can have a properly even flap. Okay, so now we have to do a couple things. The scissors, this side goes off. This side goes off. Oops, keep grabbing that cord for my microphone. So my phone is got a little misplaced. Sorry about that. Let's tighten that up again so it will stay. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we do is we just line up. So my line is there, my other line is there. And then my line is here, and my other dot is there. We're just going to draw a line from dot to dot. Cut on the inside of the line, and you won't see those pencil marks. And these little corners can be kept for making some different things. And then the last thing I like to do is to sort of round these out so that they will have a nice looking edge. A little awkward doing it like that, but alright, and then so you can decide if you want to do the edging around or not, or if you have some other kind of way of doing embossing. That would be cool to know about that. You do want to take this little white edge off. Just so that there's that little bit of a 1/4 inch line. Okay. And then your double-sided tape. You could use glue as well, and then just dry the envelope under a heavy book so that they're nice and flat when they dry, so they don't wrinkle. That's also another thing that you can do. I really like this double-sided tape. It makes a really, really fast a handy way to, oh, I made a little wrinkle there, a little handy way to make all kinds of pockets and tucks and envelopes and things like that. So that's good. Let's see, look at that pencil mark. All right, so there is the aqua colored envelope. Isn't that pretty? So wouldn't that be pretty in a junk journal that's got a vintage, you know, style to it? You can still see all these different worn cloth looks. It's embroidery, so it's really nice. So this one we're going to decorate a little bit. And I've got this really pretty flower. I've also got a butterfly. So let's see. On this side, I actually think I might want to put this butterfly. These are vellum stickers. And it's got that nice transparent edge to it. So these are also vellum stickers. They're just a little bit older and they're also transparent. So I'm going to put it here. Okay, there you go. So that's really nice. So another way of, you know, decorating it, this is also double-sided tape that's just a little bit thicker, but you could actually put a strip of that down. It's double-sided tape on tissue paper. So put a strip down like there if you wanted. Trying to think if I want to do that or not. Maybe I'll just put it up here. Yep, I think I will. I'll go from here to here, and do I really want to do that? I don't know if I want to do that really. Maybe down here? Yeah, I'll put it down there. I like my graphic of my old pin, so we won't cover that up. So on this tissue paper, you can then take some stamping and stamp some words. Or if you have like a motto, you know, label maker or something, make a nice little phrase or something like that. So, all right. So let me show you all the little envelopes and what they look like. So this one has embossing around the edges. I don't know if you can see that so clearly. I can feel it almost more than I can see it. I can see it on that side because you can see the little shadows a little bit better. Okay, so that's one. This is the pink one. It's got some little flowers on it. So probably what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to go ahead and put some stamping or something in there when I know who it's going for. So like I said, it's going to go to Penpals for their goodies. And this one has a little flower and a little bit of the embossing on the edge too. So, all right. So just remember that these papers are found in my Etsy shop. It's one of my digital kits, Jumbo Box Art Co. at Etsy. You can see some of my work at Jumbo Box at Instagram. If you're interested in being a pen pal and interacting more with me, Traveling Letters and Pen Pals at Facebook is my pen pal group. And then you're here at YouTube at Jumbo Box Shop, so at YouTube. So if you liked if you like these crafts, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this long video. Bye now.